I was asked to prepare something for the Goth Society, and you know what is a Goth thing, right? Is death. These plants look just like nice, normal plants. They look a lot like the kind of plants that you would just find walking along in a meadow, but they're incredibly poisonous and will kill you. Poisonous plants. A brief introduction. You're welcome. So, what kind of poisons are there in plants? Well, I'm glad you asked. Plants can mess you up in many different ways. Are you allowed to swear on the YouTube channel? Not best. So, plants like nettles, I'm sure everyone has experienced before, have skin irritants in them, which it probably won't kill you unless you have an allergic reaction, but they are still a type of poison. Whereas other plants will cause things like heart failure. So foxgloves and rosary peas especially are very bad for making your heart do weird things until it stops doing anything. And cannabis, or poppies, which have opium in them, have been historically used for both medicinal and recreational purposes, but they do have side effects if you use them too much. Opium, especially, I'm sure we all know is bad. Cannabis isn't as bad, but it still can make you quite sick if you use too much of it. There are lots of different poisonous plants in the British Isles. You've probably walked past lots of murdery boys just wherever you live, because they are everywhere. Foxgloves are in most gardens and in a lot of parks as well, but they will cause you to hallucinate and make you very sick, and as we've said, cause heart issues, and they do make your tummy hurt, and also they can kill you. Deadly nightshade, you might know from the name, will also kill you. They're from the same families as tomatoes, and while tomatoes are not in themselves poisonous, the stems and the leaves have the same compound that you find in deadly nightshade berries. Yes, unlike the foxglove, it works really slowly. It'll take a long time to kill you and do lots of really nasty things to you in the meantime. Interestingly, because people knew that deadly nightshade would kill you before they knew that tomatoes were nice, for just like decades, people fully believed that tomatoes were also poisonous because they looked the same. They called them poison apples back in the day, until I guess someone decided to eat one and was like, oh, actually this is fine. Aconite is sometimes called the Queen of Poisons. You might know it's referenced in Harry Potter and a lot of other fantasy novels. It's also called monk's hood or wolfsbane. Wolfsbane because it kills wolves, and monk's hood because the flower looks like a hood. Fatal doses, which in tinctures, so like the distilled version, is about 20 to 40 milliliters. I don't know how much that is in terms of actual plant matter, but they can kill you within 2 to 6 hours, and some sources have suggested that people have died instantly if they eat like a lot of it. They've just died immediately, but there hasn't been like scientific proof of this that we know of. This picture I took myself at the World Museum in Liverpool. It's got some nice little drawers about poisonous plants, so if you're interested. But wait, there's still more things that will kill you in England. Hemlock, which was the little nice flower on the opening slide, was used as poison in ancient Greece. They would steep it into a tea and then you drink it and die, and that is how Socrates was famously killed. One of the things that makes it so dangerous is that it looks a lot like cow's parsley and Queen Anne's lace, which are like types of carrot and are like a thing that people eat. So if you pick up what you think is Queen Anne's lace, but now, one of the things that in more recent times makes hemlock so dangerous is that it looks very similar to cow's parsley and Queen Anne's lace, which are both types of carrot. So a lot of people will pull up what they think is a wild carrot, but then it's actually hemlock. And you only need like a really small amount of hemlock to do some real damage. Like even brushing against it, you can get like a horrible rash. Like it's nasty. Daffodils aren't as dangerous as most of these plants, but the problem with them is the bulbs look a lot like onions when they haven't got the flowers sprouting out of them. So people will like pick them thinking they're onions and then eat them, and then it makes them really sick. Or quite a lot of times dogs will like dig them up and eat them, and because dogs are smaller, then the poison is more acute on them. So if you ever think that your dog's eating a daffodil, take them to the vet. If your dog's eating anything they shouldn't have, been taken to the vet, you know. Laburnum trees, pictured here, are incredibly murderous. They will happily murder you with they'll just look at you and kill you straight away. The flowers, the seeds, and the root all contain cytosine, which is just very, very poisonous. It causes all sorts of palpitations and sweating sickness, dry throat, and usually when it kills people, it's because it completely paralyzes you, so that your lungs can't inflate anymore, so you suffocate to death. And one of the particularly unpleasant things about laburnum trees is that because they're very pretty and very easy to grow, they you see them a lot around public parks and schools. So there's been a lot of cases of little children playing and then getting laburnum flowers stuck to their clothes and their hands and stuff, and then not washing properly before eating and then getting poisoned like that. So there's been cases of mass poisonings of whole schools. Yew trees are another one that affects children quite a lot because they are they look like red currants, and they look really tasty actually. If you ever see a yew tree, it looks like a snack, but it is not. Because they have did I write down the name of the compound? I did not. Well, they have a compound in them. Oh wait, no. Yes, taxin is the poison. I know what I'm doing. Taxin is in the seeds, so not the actual berries, but the seeds inside the berries. So you could, in theory, just take out the seeds, but I still wouldn't risk it, because if you do end up eating taxin, then usually you'll have a completely symptomless death until suddenly someone just dies maybe 2 hours after they've had the poisonous dose. So it's very difficult to treat because you don't know what's happened. But an important thing to remember about poisonous plants is that a lot of the time things that are poisonous in their pure form can be used as a medicine. Throughout the whole history of medicine, this is where people have started to cure illnesses, is by looking at plants and then using small amounts to do something that if it happened too much would kill you. So foxgloves and laburnums, as we were saying earlier, can cause terrible heart palpitations. But if your heart is going too slowly and you need to speed it up, you can have a tincture of digotoxin, which is the toxin in foxgloves, and that will help you not to die from your heart going too slowly. But if you have too much, then your heart will go too fast and you will die. So it's a balance. And if you've read the news recently, you'll know there's been ongoing research into the medical properties of cannabis. Current research suggests that it is helpful for conditions like epilepsy, but we're still waiting on the longitudinal studies. We'll know eventually. Opium is used as a painkiller in morphine, but it is very addictive, which is one of the main problems of the American opium crisis right now. a lot of people are addicted to opium because of its use as a prescription painkiller. So the important thing to remember about poisonous plants is that they're not entirely bad, but you should treat them with respect and treat them very carefully, because if they want to kill you, they can. Thank you.